Welcome to my studio and welcome to my studio sale for the holidays. This is where I hang out. Friend of mine, when we moved here, turned this half of our garage outbuilding into a studio for me, and I've thoroughly enjoyed having my own separate space to create in. So, welcome to the sale. We'll get right into it and I'll start telling you about my paintings. Well, here we are in my garage, so to speak, for the garage sale of 2023. My half of the garage is actually an art studio, as I've told you, and so I think it looks much better than just a plain cement slab. This is where I hang out. This is where I create all of my paintings. The first thing I want to tell you is I've got about 7 or 8, I think, paintings in this sale. Most of them are from my time when I lived in the Dakotas and would go to Custer State Park in the southern part of the Black Hills to photograph the wildlife there and then do paintings. So they tend to be things, I think, that appeal more to folks in the Dakotas. It seems that since I've gotten out here to Colorado, everybody's more enthralled with the Rocky Mountain wildlife than they are with the Black Hills. Buffalo and burros and so on. So anyway, that's the reason for some of the paintings being in the sale. Before I start with those major paintings, so to speak, I wanted to start first with just a few things that are unframed, that are just pieces that I've done mostly for fun, honestly. And so I want to show those to you, and also to say that shipping with all of these is free, so keep that in mind. The first one here is a mixed media piece that I did. It's on heavyweight watercolor paper, and it's just a stamping and painting process, I think acrylic paint, yep, that of this fox, and I really just like the pose, and I'm pleased with how it turned out in terms of the head and the face. But this fox is available for $75, and that does include shipping. The next painting is of this plump bird. It's obviously not a bird that anybody who's a birder would recognize. But anyway, again, it's the stamping and painting and overpainting and so on that's a part of creating this particular painting. So this one is also $75. Then I have this little bug. It's a little fox, a little red fox with an itch apparently. So. Again, I like kind of the way how the elements here in the background kind of serve to frame the little squirt. So anyway, this is $60 for the painting, again on watercolor paper, and I'll get it to you for free, nothing extra. Every now and then I say to myself, I should be doing more painting, more drawing, not just painting. You'll obviously see, because I only have 2 drawings to show you, that I don't do that nearly as much as I should. But this drawing is of an elk calf that I did photograph here in Rocky Mountain National Park. But you can see it's a charcoal on paper drawing. And the same with this drawing, which is of a little wren. It was flitting around our house and on our wood pile and different places. And it was hard, frankly, to photograph because the darn thing was so quick. It would just kind of zip, zoom, and wouldn't sit anywhere very, very long. But anyway, this is the wren charcoal drawing, and that is the last of what I would call the miscellaneous pieces that I have for you. And otherwise, we'll get into the descriptions of the paintings. Thanks. These 3 paintings are not my usual painting style, obviously, but I did enjoy doing them. The first bottom one here is an acrylic painted on canvas. It's of a mountain bluebird in Custer State Park, and it's perched on the nesting box where he and his mate were making little ones. So this is mountain bluebird. Then I got into mixed media, and so this one here is Out of the Ashes, which is actually based on a poem by George MacDonald, which you can read up there in the upper left corner. So you can check that out if you look closer at the painting. And then the one next to it is Time Travel, which again is a mixed media painting that I did, and I just kind of like the sense of the cruciform shape in terms of the composition of the painting, and then of course I like warm colors. So there you are. These three paintings are all on canvas, and they are all floater framed. So there you go. Those are Mountain Bluebird, Out of the Ashes, and Time Travel. This painting is titled I'm Looking Over. I don't think the clover blossoms that the elk calf has in its mouth are from a four-leaf clover, but hey, one can always hope. Anyway, I saw this elk calf and several calves and mothers on a slope in Rocky Mountain National Park, and they were munching away very happily. And then this little guy picked his head up, and he had these two clover blossoms dangling out of the side of his mouth. I thought about Joe Cool as a title for it, but decided I didn't want to promote any cigarettes. So this is I'm Looking Over, and it's an elk calf in Rocky Mountain National Park. One of the fun things about Custer State Park is the small herd of burros that they have that hang out in the southern part of the park. And they are confirmed beggars. They will come up to your car. If you have your window down, they will stick their head in your car and proceed to look for anything that you have in the way of a handout. So I had wised up and had my window closed, which meant that this particular burro decided to avail herself of my rear view mirror as a scratching post. And so she was rubbing her muzzle on my mirror. Well, I cracked up laughing, leaned back. I was in the driver's seat, so I'm right next to her. So I leaned back as far as I could go and took the photo, snapped this photo of this burro. And then I had a lot of fun painting it, but when I got done painting it, I couldn't figure out what to title it. And so I put the word out on Facebook, and a friend said, you should title this Objects in Mirror Are Closer Than They Appear. Well, I shortened that a little bit, but it's Objects in Mirror Are Closer. The thing I want you to know about this painting is it is framed in quarter sawn oak, stained obviously a dark ebony black color. But this is Objects in Mirror. Shifting Seasons comes out of a funny moment that I had when I was at the Custer State Park Buffalo Roundup and Art Sale. Walked out of my motel one morning to see someone had bicycled to work, and then it had snowed on them. So I thought it was just really funny that this bicycle sitting leaning up against the hotel wall had snow on it, and that was the reason for the painting. I chose blues and predominance of blue, as well as a little subtle green in there to emphasize the change in seasons from summer to fall. Shifting Seasons. This painting is Spring Thaw. It is a painting of a buffalo mother and her calf in Custer State Park, southern Black Hills. It was a spring day. I think it was probably early May or mid-May. And it was cold. You can see there was a little bit of snow still in patches on the ground. And so the calf, in effect, was kind of sheltering next to his mother's body to stay warm, I would assume. But anyway, this is Spring Thaw. The thing I want you to know is there is a small, very small ding on the frame in the corner of the frame, which is really hardly noticeable if you just hang it and look at it from a distance. But I do want you to know about that. The painting is priced accordingly. I reduced the price quite a bit so that you could swap out the frame and do that if you would like to. Spring Thaw. This is Tender Moment. This painting came out of a photo that I took in Custer State Park in the southern Black Hills of the United States. They have this iconic small group of burros that are there in the park, and of course they're very tame and spoiled by all the tourists. But the little baby was just so cute, and it came up to me, and so I was petting it and rubbing its ears, which I can tell you the fur on a burro's ears is very soft. But anyway, the mother eventually came over, and it was kind of like, look, lady, this is my kid. And so then she and the baby were checking in with each other. So this is Tender Moment. I decided to set this painting on the floor in my studio because it has at least a little less glare on it from all the windows in my studio. This is Touchstone. It's a painting of Buffalo Mother and Calf that I saw in Custer State Park in the southern Black Hills. What I loved about this, the buffalo calves have a way of sort of throwing their tails in the air and running all over the place. And then they're like, maybe I better go check in with mom. So this little squirt came back to where his mother was laying in the grass and just touched his head against her head and muzzle. And then it was like, okay, you're there, I'm okay, and I'm going to go off and run around some more with my friends. So this is Touchstone. It's a painting that I like for obvious reasons. Just for kicks, this is a painting that I did called Golden Moment, and it's actually, obviously, for those of you who know me, a painting of me petting this burro calf. That calf actually shows up in another painting, Tender Moment. But he had the absolute softest fur on his ears, and I fell just a little bit in love with the little bugger. But another person who was standing there admiring the burros snapped this photo, and I turned it into a painting. I doubt that anybody is going to want a painting of me with a burro calf, but you never know. So if you're interested, contact me through the contact form on my website. And this is Golden Moment. We can talk about you having a painting of me and a very cute little burro calf.